Cyberpunk and Tokyo, two totally different things. One is a genre and another one is a city in Japan. However, the relationship is closely knitted. Tokyo's influence always appears in the cyberpunk genre, no matter its music, movie, or even game. Sometimes the city even becomes a story's setting. But why is this happening, and what's the specific influence in the genre? First, we need to know what cyberpunk is. Cyberpunk derives from two words, cyber and punk. Cyber refers to science and its redefining of relations between humans and cybernetic. Punks refers to the deviant and rebellious urban street culture, thus creating a genre of a society full of cybernetically enhanced humans with an emphasis on the unruly street culture. The genre was born out of William Gibson's novel Neuromancer in 1984 and has been produced in different media ever since. Most famous are Blade Runner, Cyberpunk 2077 the video game, and Akira, etc. So, how does Tokyo tie into the genre of cyberpunk then? Tokyo's association with cyberpunk starts with a bit of negative connotation. As stated in a Wired article, the origins of the cyberpunk genre involve Western anxieties about the Eastern techno-Orientalism. Orientalism itself means the Orient as a construction of the West, so it creates a bias view from the West against East. Therefore, the use of Asian billboards and neon signs in Japanese, like in the case of the movie Blade Runner. Love hotels, hostess bars, ramen joints, karaoke clubs, and pachinko parlors inspired by Kabukicho in Tokyo shown in Cyberpunk 2077, even if movie and game are not staged in Tokyo, with Blade Runner's case happening in future Los Angeles, Cyberpunk 2077 happening in Night City, a fictional city in California, US. This happens as gives off an idea of threat of takeover from the East. So, using Tokyo's elements in Cyberpunk provides view of a technological takeover from the East rather than showing a mixture of diversity in the genre. Although it seems like the cyberpunk genre is made by the West, full of biases and unjust views against the East, cyberpunk is actually contributed by the East, with the most famous being Akira. A summary of Akira. Akira's story is about a teenage rebellion against the government that performs an illegal experiment with trees of cyberpunk and biological horror. Other than it taking place in New Tokyo, a city built on the ashes of old Tokyo destroyed in war. Additional references to the city are happening in the movie. One of the elements from the movie is the Bosozoku, which means violent during tribe in Japanese. It's a kind of motorcycle gang that the main characters of Akira belong to. In the story, they often race through the city of New Tokyo and even rebels against the government. In real life, Bosozoku exist and they were popular through the 80s. They often commit crimes involving vandalism, traffic violations, and other kinds of illegal activities. Though they're not just active in Tokyo, they certainly are representative of Tokyo in the 80s, roaming through the streets of Tokyo with their expensive and obnoxiously decorated bikes, while cherishing what they called the Japanese spirit. Though they largely fade away now, they are still posted as a threat in 2021. Another element of the city can be found in the history of Neo Tokyo. As mentioned, Neo Tokyo is built on the ashes of old Tokyo, which was destroyed during the Third World War. The author most likely wants to reference the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but this also parallels the history of our world's Tokyo. During the Second World War, about 41 square kilometers of central Tokyo are destroyed, and about 100,000 civilians dead. The city rebuilds after the war and becomes the Tokyo that what we know today, just like how the Tokyo in the story of Akira. Tokyo is often referenced in Akira because during the time that manga or comic is made, it was the 80s. Japan was experiencing an economic boom. Tokyo being the capital of Japan is in the center of it. Japan has to figure out how to use its newfound power, just like how the characters in Akira have to determine the use of their newly gained power. So in Akira, we see that Cyberpunk uses Tokyo as a reference to provide a social commentary, not just as an Orientalism gimmick. Apart from case of Akira, another Eastern cyberpunk movie that can represent Tokyo is Ghost in the Shell. It takes place in Newport City, a futuristic Japanese metropolis with the busy streets, the futuristic shopping arcades, and the neon-lit billboards, resembling the current Tokyo. Ghost in the Shell's story is about a group of cybernetically enhanced humans, known as the Public Security Section 9 of the government agents, chasing after and arresting a mysterious cybercriminal, Puppet Master. In Ghost in the Shell, the human and gender elements of the city are more emphasized. One of the most outstanding elements of the movie is its gender representation. The protagonist is a feminine cyborg with a female physical figure, yet she possesses several masculine capabilities, such as superhuman physical strength, skilled martial arts, marksmanship, etc. Moreover, at the end of the original manga version, the protagonist's ghost, which refers to one's brain or consciousness, was implanted in male cyborg's body. Thus, the movie provides an open-minded gender representation to give us a brief idea of what a post-gender Tokyo will be like. It also reflects that Tokyo's people have begun eliminating the stereotypes of gender roles and gender differences instead of continuously bounding to the gender binary. Furthermore, the movie Ghost in the Shell represents the historical aspect of Tokyo. In 1948, Japanese government implemented the eugenic protection law that primarily targeted women, turning their reproductive capabilities into mandatory labor. Similarly, the cyberpunk's dystopian elements in the movie emphasize that the cyborg's body is manipulated by the government rather than themselves. Hence, Ghost in the Shell symbolizes the queer history of Tokyo in the past. It helps remind the Japanese living in the city that they should never commodify human bodies to achieve any political or social goals. To conclude, Tokyo is used in cyberpunk for showing how the East is a threat to the West. However, the relationship can also be used as social commentary delivered in Akira, a future vision shown in Ghost in the Shell. With the video, we have seen that the relations between Tokyo and cyberpunk are integrally tied. Even if the city is used in a biased way, it's undeniable that they are inseparable.